Hey, this is Kerri from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerials podcast, now with the Digit Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. I cannot believe this, but this is season 5. So thanks to you. This is a thriving podcast, reaching the corners of the world, all the women out there, and I'm so excited and proud to be with you. All right, super excited because I am launching a new podcast with my 2 co-hosts, Noah Dock and Amanda Ritchie. And we are going to be on this feed on Thursdays. It is called The Artist Entrepreneur. We are 3 aerialists and dancers navigating our businesses. And if you'd like to check that out, just check out your inbox on Thursdays. Also in partnership with Sweet Retreats, I'm so excited to be hosting an intermediate aerial dance retreat June 21st through the 28th. Still have some spots available. Please check out the show notes for that. Roll it out every Tuesday and Thursday. Of course, my comprehensive course for those who want to train on their own or you have spotty access to instructors. It's beginner to intermediate, fully online. And then, of course, aerial rehab, postpartum, post-injury, meant to be the bridge between PT and your favorite aerial class. Of course, I'm teaching all over the place this year, Texas, heading back to LA, Ohio, and of course, Oaxaca in June. Let's get started.
There's a couple people here right now who know you.
Who?
Maggie Moon.
Maggie Moon? Is it Aaron Cause?
What's that?
Is it Aaron Cause?
Aaron Cause is not here. It's 2 students that are here for dance trapeze. Who was it?
Aww.
Denise Parkhurst. Do you know her?
Yes. She takes at the loft. Yes.
Yeah. Because I was like, I have a podcast tomorrow. And they're like, what's it called? And I was like, something about postpartum. And they're like, oh, Kerri, wait.
Well, I have a fun story for you, Kerri. So one of my students here at the Arium in San Antonio, she was like, have you heard of Sweet Retreats? I was like, in fact, I have, because I just signed a contract to do a retreat June 21st of 2025. And this is, well, I would have announced it already in my intros, but this is like the big announcement because you run the place and I'm coming there and it's the start of a new journey with you. But one of my students was interviewing or auditioning for your scholarship or something.
Oh.
She sent in a video. I don't know where she is in the process of it, but she went ahead and used the video where I was being a complete jackass in the background.
What's her name?
Her name is Andrea.
Okay, I get to do it.
Okay, anyways, I don't know if you've seen this yourself, but basically she's doing some silks and I'm in the back, like twerking in my class and just like in her phone, like on purpose. And I didn't know she was going to use that video to send to you, but she has. It's already been sent to you.
Interesting. I don't remember. Sometimes we don't look at the videos seriously until it's time to like choose. Oh, I see. Andrea Salazar.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't. We haven't like looked closely at those videos yet, but I'll look for it when we do.
So at the end of her video, I mean, I was being so silly and I was like, I don't know this woman very well, but I was like, you're cheeky because you just sent that video and I'm acting crazy in the back, like on purpose. But I thought, I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere. So she thought it was very funny. Yeah, because I'm a ridiculous person in the studio.
Yay.
Because I want to have fun.
Yeah, I know. Like, duh. And twerking, you can't. Yeah. And there's almost never a bad time for twerking.
Exactly. That's what I have to say too. So Kerri we have the same name, except she's Kerri with an I and I'm Kerri with a Y.
Mm-hmm.
And Kerri is new to me, but she might not even be new to you guys because I feel like the worldwide community knows of Sweet Retreats because so many people across the world.
And you forced my mommy to go to Mexico and I'm not happy about that.
So she knows I'm coming to you. And me and my partner already decided she's not coming with me.
Oh.
Just recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's upset.
How dare you tell my mommy to
No, actually, that was your papa's decision.
How dare you go to Mexico, Mommy?
Bean, if you don't stop, I'm leaving you everywhere, not just Mexico. Go.
Oh my God.
If you would just introduce yourself to our audience, a little bit about yourself, what you do, how long you've been practicing aerial, and why you decided to start Sweet Retreats. Let's start there.
Okay. My name is Kerri Kresinski, and I am about to turn 50. I guess that's kind of important because like age and aerial arts is like kind of a thing, I've been doing aerial and circus arts for 25 years, half my life now. And I live outside of Puerto Escondido, Mexico, where I have a retreat center called Casa Chango, Mexico, which means monkey house. We just kind of came up with that name at some point and it stuck. And my business where I run retreats, where I host workshops and stuff, I call Sweet Retreats. That actually came from Sweet Can Circus, which was a circus company that I ran and co-founded and produced for many years in California. So I found aerial arts and circus arts in the year 2000 when I was in my 20s, dancing in all kinds of different types of shows and collectives in San Diego. And I was invited into a company called Technomania Circus to be a dancer. And it was like an amateur circus that performed at places like Burning Man and stuff like that. And I just kind of got excited about circus arts because it spoke to a lot of my ridiculousness in art as an artist, about like kind of going to like all of the extremes of emotion and ridiculousness. And then I saw an aerial act that inspired me, and then the rest is history. My obsessive compulsive nature took over. And I became addicted to silks first because, well, back then we didn't call it silks, we called it chiffon. And then after chiffon, we called it tissu, which is the French word. And silks came much later, but now for some reason we all say silks, I think, or we say fabric. But I was attracted to that first because I had been working with different types of stretchy fabrics in my dance performances a lot in the past years, my like early 20s, like Martha Graham kind of style, contemporary stretchy fabric, moving inside of stretchy fabric and doing all these shapes and these emotional kind of things. And then I went into doing partner acro with these inside these weird body bags and all these things. And then I saw silks or chiffon, and I was like, oh. And back then there was very few skills that we actually knew on the fabric. And so the main one was like you tie a foot knot and then you get inside the cocoon, you sit inside the cocoon and like wiggle and like writhe around. And that was like, I think one of the first tricks that I ever saw, and one of the first tricks I ever did, because it's a beginner skill. I could do it. And I was like, this is just exactly what I've been doing with fabric in my dance, artistic expression. And now I can do it in the air. And it made so much sense. So anyway, I got into it. I was a very slow learner at the beginning as far as strength. I had no acrobatic or kind of athletic DNA in my muscles. Building muscle wasn't something that came easy to my body. But so I never expected that I would get good or become professional. But somehow, like back then in my 20s, I had this kind of concept of life where I just like had to do things.
But you know what you said that resonated? You said that you didn't put on strength very easily. And that is such a struggle for me too.
Yeah, it's a struggle for a lot of people. And that's the thing where a lot of these days, the people who get things naturally or just have that athleticism in their body naturally, there's like a divide, of just like how to learn between people who just get it and the people whose bodies have to learn how to do it and develop that strength. And I think it's an important piece, and it's an important piece of how the industry is growing now.
You know, you're right. There's a huge divide with people who are naturally strong and who aren't. The sticking point, the difficult point for me is that there's not a lot of professionals who have that problem.
Yes, I have some theories about that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, please.
So in the last 10 to 15 years, the industry of recreational aerial arts has grown exponentially and very quickly. And so the people so therefore new studios are opening up, lots more studios, aerial studios. When I first started in the year 2000, there weren't aerial studios. There wasn't such a thing as aerial studio. It was circus school. There were circus schools and circus programs. And the word aerial studio wasn't even a thing that anyone had ever heard of, or I had never heard of. And they didn't really exist. There were circus schools around the world. There was like 2 or 3 or 4 maybe different places in the United States that even did that. And so then aerial studios, started sprouting up because of recreational circus arts and aerial arts. And so as there's this need, similar to the yoga industry, as there's this need for more and more teachers, the people who and this is my experience in what I saw in my little communities, and then also what I see, 10 to 15 years later, is that the people who come to an aerial class and get things fast, their body gets it fast, their brain gets it fast, they learn the skills fast, are often the people where the studio owner says, hey, would you like a job teaching here? And so the people who get things fast can remember the things and remember the steps and essentially, teach something somewhat safely, but don't know what it's like to not be able to get it. And so they've never had to go through that process of learning how to do things correctly, quote unquote, correctly, doing things progressively, building strength progressively, experiencing a part of their body that just won't do the thing because of strength or because of whatever connection, because of proprioception or, the kinesthetic awareness, muscle memory, all of the different things. So people who've never done dance before and don't know how to lift your leg and engage your abdominals at the same time, all those things. And so more and more over the past 10 years or so, I think a lot of the people who ended up being teachers are the people who get things really quickly and don't need to understand things as thoroughly as the people who don't get things really quickly. And it's definitely not the fault or the blame or a bad thing about people who have natural physical gifts. It's more just about the growth of the industry. And sometimes it's about the non-awareness, I guess, of the studio owners themselves who don't really know how to guide students from one step to the next. And so for me, honestly, that kind of goes back to me as a teacher. I got to gifted a body that didn't do things naturally, but I also did dance my whole life. So I have understood the importance of technique and understanding the how and the why of everything. But then I got to go to school, and this is goes back to my story of when in my 20s, when I discovered aerial arts, and I was on the path of an artist. I was working bottom level jobs. I was working at Jamba Juice. And then finally I went to massage school. So I was getting some jobs doing massage. I worked at SeaWorld during these times. I wasn't having a corporate lifestyle. I wasn't making lots of money. But I was living the life of an artist, which means I was following my path, my heart, my passions, and all of those things. And so one thing led to another, and I ended up going to circus school. I didn't go to a circus school program, but I went to a circus school, San Francisco School of Circus Arts, and a couple different places in Quebec, Canada, and learned from coaches in a way that you have to go in one progressive path, because it was about technique and it was about performance and it was about doing something that looks good in order to get a job performing. So it was like competitive in that way, but it was more just about like, this is how you learn things from one step to the next in order to become really good at the thing that you're learning. And so these days, a lot of people who are doing aerial arts recreationally, it's not as much about getting good or looking good. It's about enjoying themselves. And so I think the main conundrum that I think that we're faced with in the world of aerial as teachers and as students is, how much work do I want to do that's maybe fun or not fun in order to make my hobby funner in the long run, or more sustainable in the long run? You know, like how much conditioning, and it depends on each individual. If I'm a person who loves athletics and I come to aerial arts, I'm going to love conditioning. If I'm somebody who doesn't love athletics and just wants to express myself and be in community, I'm not going to really be drawn to conditioning and athletics. But I'm probably the person that needs it in order to have a sustainable practice that's not going to plateau right away, or that's not going to get me injured, or that's not going to leave me demoralized because I can't do the things that I want to do. So I feel as teachers and as leaders in the industry, it has to be a conversation, and it has to be a way of like kind of defining how we can uplift the industry so that it's inclusive to everybody, but also the path forward is in some ways individualized depending on who you are, what you want. But also, here's like a foundational for me is, we do have to maintain the respect for the art form itself. And the art form itself demands us to care about our bodies and to do the work that we need to do, self-awareness and the physical work that we need to do in order to respectfully do the art form. You know, like you wouldn't go to a ballet class and be like, I want to skip all the plies and the bar stuff and just like do tricks in the ballet studio that's going to put me on Instagram. You know, so ballet has like this crazy amount of respect. You never would go to a ballet class and tell your teacher that you want to skip the boring stuff and do only the fun stuff. And circus arts and aerial arts, I feel like has gone almost the other direction, is that, you know, we do want to just do the fun stuff, but the foundationals are here to protect us and guide us, but also keep us humble. Right?
Two things. And this person I love dearly. So it was just funny because she actually went through a death in the family when she was doing a 6-week performance workshop underneath me. And I am always like, I mean, these are students, they're paying for a 6-week workshop. It's a commercialized thing. And I'm like putting together a Broadway show in my mind. I'm like doing all the things. And she's like, I have a question for you. And this was after the fact. She's like, my question to you is, could we have less stress that would equal more fun? And I was like, you know what? I don't even know what you're asking me, because no. I was like, I kind of know what you mean, but my point in doing it is not for you guys to have fun per se. That's not my number one goal. I know that is a goal, but my goal for you guys is to create and perform something objectively good.
You are speaking my language.
For your level. Objectively good for your level, so that when your friends come, they're not, you know, coming to a show to take pity on you. I mean, I was using very strong words because we were laughing. But like, it's not like a pity show for these adult recital students. Like, it needs to be objectively good for the level you're at. And yes, I'm sorry. She had a really rough 6 weeks, but I was like, generally no, because I really believe that I don't need to make aerial fun. Aerial is fun by itself. To me, like the all of the things come with it. Yeah, I'm pushing you guys. And if that's the question, and I think I actually have softened up a bit over the years, because that commercial element is just so like, it's like a tidal wave. You can't really fight it completely, or else you won't be making money. And the question I have attached to this is, I feel out of the people I talk to who own studios and the people who teach, a person in your position would experience this element even more so because they're on vacation.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Like the element of fun versus work when you're on vacation?
Yeah, versus really coaching. You know what I'm saying? Because almost everyone, like the ones that I've seen that are named on your retreats, I know all these people either by I know of them or I know them actually. And they're serious aerialists.
Yeah.
And the people coming want to do serious things, but you're also on vacation.
Yeah, honestly, that's something that I think about every time we have a different group come in. I get different perspectives, and I'm pretty stubborn because of my history and my foundation with movement and aerial and circus arts. I am, and also when I've discovered that over the years that my purpose, my personal purpose as a teacher is that I do understand technique. I do understand progressions. I've studied and continue to study the body thoroughly, anatomy, my body, other bodies, asking questions. Like I obsess over it. You know, I love the study of movement. I love the study of bodies. And so my gift to the world of aerial arts is that I'm very knowledgeable and I'm very curious. And there's things that I know, but then there's never something I know so much that I'm not willing to learn. And so for me, as the founder of this place, it's been my mission to uphold that and have our place be known as a place where you can come and learn, and uphold that. So it's not just what I would call fluff. And at the same time, there is a purpose for fluff where you're just kind of like, let's get on the apparatus and like spin around and take a picture because there's this beautiful sunset in the background and enjoy ourselves, because the world is a dark and scary place. And so how can we uplift ourselves by just taking a load off and enjoying ourselves? And so it's at this point, it's kind of like each teacher's responsibility to like find that edge, or find those boundaries. But as a whole, with the retreats that I teach, I have found my own personal balance of let's make it fun because the learning is fun. Whereas like I used to say things like, no, you can't do the next step because your knees weren't straight and your toes weren't pointed. You didn't do it well. We can't take the next step. You can't do a double star till you've done a single star. You know, like no, because it still doesn't look good. And I would be a little bit meaner because I didn't really know what else to say to people. And now, many, many, many years and much experience later, I understand that hard work, when guided, and I feel like I can guide hard work pretty well and be like, point out like, hey, remember all that hard work you've been doing? Look this is how it's paid off. And look at how much funner how much funner it is now. And so there's this more of this, like, make the hard work fun. And that's not going to work for everybody. It's really not. It's not going to work for everybody. But the great thing about a retreat, especially a week-long retreat, is you can just make it your own. Some people will come to all the classes and take notes and, like arnica themselves and jacuzzi themselves in between. And some people will come to half the classes and lay in the hammock and enjoy themselves. And it's kind of okay as long as everybody's responsible with things that they might have missed and keeping up. And then the thing that is harder is when we have our longer programs that so I have my residency programs that go anywhere between 2 and 10 weeks. And they used to be 12 weeks during COVID. And that's where you get into this routine where you're like constantly questioning, like, am I having fun? Should I be having more fun? I'm here in Mexico. I have these views. I have the swimming pool. I have salsa dancing out there. I can go to the beach. I can go in the jacuzzi. I can lay around and read a book. Am I having fun? Is this what I wanted? and each student has to reevaluate that. But like you, I am often the one that upholds my purpose here is to hold these classes and to teach you. And if you want to come and learn the things that I'm going to teach, you can do that. And if you want to take a break, you can also do that. So there's a level of self-awareness that people need to have in order to know what they want.
Yes, teachers and students.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kerri asked me to make her. I never plan this podcast. If you guys listen to my podcast, you know that I go with it because this is what happens, like this organic conversation. But I'm looking at the list that I wrote her, and I was like, oh, I do want to ask her these things. Okay, so can you go back? How and why did you start this? Because it's genius, by the way.
Okay, so I'll try and make this as short as I can. In 2009, I auditioned for a big show in Vegas that I was going to get. And then they rejected me because of my proportions. My legs are a little too short and my torso is a little too long and my hair is a little too flat.
So you mean you were in the interview process and you got to the very end and that's why, and you know this?
They flew me down to Vegas and I did like an 8-hour audition. I was clearly like really suited for the part. And then when they told me 2 days later that I didn't get it, they told me the truth. And so it threw me into like a ridiculous, it was the one chance I had to like have health insurance for my job. And I was like, no.
Well, also it's like after you're that invested in audition process, you're like, if I don't get this.
Then that flew me into I took a trip to Guatemala and was teaching circus arts to those children that live in the Guatemala City garbage dump. And like, I got this epiphany of like, whoa, teaching poor children who are just love every single thing you do is also an awesome, awesome feeling. And maybe even a better feeling than performing to a stadium of 5,000 people every day. So there's that. But then one of my dear, dear friends, Scott Cameron, who runs Intrepid Talent, he produced aerial events, corporate events and nightclub events. He pretty much like hired me for most of my career. He invited me to go to the Dominican Republic to a resort where I was going to teach and perform in exchange for a free week. And so I went to that resort. I'd never been to a resort before. I'd never been to the Dominican Republic before. It was an awesome week. It was like a vacation for me. I taught 1 hour a day. I performed at the end of the week. I fell in love with the feeling of being on an island. And I came back to where I was teaching my classes at the San Francisco Circus Center. And my students were like, what was your vacation like? And I was like, oh my God, I want to go back. Next time I'm going to bring you all and we're going to do a retreat. And my students were two of my students in that class were like, yes, you're doing that. You're doing that. You're doing it. And they were emailing me. They were honestly, like that was before I had a cell phone. They were emailing me. They were bugging me in the, at class. And then I did it. I scheduled my first retreat in the Dominican Republic. It wasn't at a resort. It was at this other place that a friend of mine had a rig at. And I made a trifold brochure on my computer with like Word, and I printed it at Kinko's Copies and I passed it out. And then people came, 7 people signed up somehow. And we had our first retreat. Chloe Axelrod, who is my performance partner and became my teaching partner, came with me. And she came with me, but so the first like 10 years of retreats that I did, we were like the dynamic duo. And it was successful. People had a good time. And the thing that Chloe and I realized after that first retreat that was so successful was that we both love tropical hot weather and the beach, and we both love training. And so a vacation made sense. We were like on vacation and we would spend hours every day teaching and like giving people such a great time practicing aerial arts and then going into, swimming in the ocean in between. And we were just like, this is the ticket. And the ticket for us was that we were good at it because we loved it. And that will lead into one of your other questions of like, what makes a good retreat? Like, we loved it. We loved every second of that week. And so did the students. partly because they were being guided by people who loved what we were doing. And so then we just did more retreats. It built up. And then finally I met my partner there, who is Australian, and we decided we would not move to America together, and we'd move to Mexico together, and we would make sweet retreats in Casa Chango happen in Mexico. So that's the short story. Thank you, Scott Cameron.
I love this story.
Thank you, Dominican Republic.
I love this. And when, like, how long ago? Bean, chill. When did this start? What year did you?
First retreat was in April 2010, 14 years ago. 14 and a half, I guess.
Wow.
Years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so what were the challenges at the beginning with the actual space and everything?
Food. food and water. Even the hotel that we were at didn't even have drinking water available to their guests. They had to buy those little 8-ounce bottles of water. And I was like, okay, when we need drinking water in the rooms, and 2, we have to figure out the food, because the food was like awful at the hotel. I ended up starting to bring my own staff, like cooking staff, into the retreats from home. All of those kinds of logistics were the hardest. And then, and honestly, like my students back then were mostly just artists, struggling artists who were trying to become aerialists, and trying to help support them make enough money to come. So we did a lot of like fundraisers and shows. I performed in their shows and like a lot of fundraisers to like actually make it happen that they could come. But yeah, the logistics of making food, and also restaurants in the Dominican Republic. If you go to a restaurant with more than like 4 people, you're going to sit there for 2.5 hours before you get your food. So those are the silly logistics that were the hardest at first.
Oh my God. Okay. Now, tell me how this experience has informed your life. How has your perspective on the worldwide community been shaped through this process? I'm so interested, because it's very different than a studio owner who's in one location.
Because I get students from all over the world and from different types of studios. And so sometimes I'll say something where I'm just like, in your warm-ups, when you hold hollow body, and like find that, that some students have never held a hollow body hold, or some things that I kind of assume are a part of aerial, and then that aren't, or like students that are like, our studio has this rule. And I'm like, I wonder why they have that rule. Or, or I wonder why they don't have a certain rule. And so I meet people from that are training in in their own bubble. And so it has really given me a different perspective, because I see all these different people, seeing all of the different people from the different studios with different cultures and different perspectives and different goals and all these things. And also the thing where like some people come to aerial arts because they want to get in shape, but it seems like most people come to aerial arts for community, for kind of a counterculture community, for creative outlook, and then there's also just the people who want to post on Instagram, all of that, which blah blah blah. But there's like the reason that people come to this is to aerial arts, and maybe even the reason people stick with aerial arts is deeper. It's deeper than I just want to like make a living, or I want to like be an artist. It's like there's this feeling of belonging to this thing, and this feeling of like, I can do this thing, I can overcome this, I can like overcome challenges. And it's also like therapy for some people. And so the way that like when I experience students and classes and teaching is like understanding that everybody learns differently, everybody experiences things differently. There's a need for asking questions and not just assuming. Within that, like, also, I'm the coach. I know what I'm doing and I understand this thing. It doesn't mean I understand you, but I do understand this thing called aerial arts. and so like, how can I, my question that I asked myself, and like, as everything grows, is how can I keep guiding people in a way that's satisfying and fulfilling for them, and still teach the thing that I understand, the thing that I know, the thing that I love teaching, and the thing that I find very, very valuable. And that is just like a lot of asking people who they are. And the great thing about running retreats and these intensives is that you're also eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with these people. You're also soaking in jacuzzi with these people. You're hanging out in the pool with people, and you're getting to know them. And you're like, oh, this is what you're going through. And this is like affecting what you want. Like your friend who was going through the hard thing and was just like, I just want to have fun. So to me, like the perspective that there's people going through shit, even when they're on vacation, helps me have a more compassionate outlook, but it doesn't necessarily help me as a teacher, because I can't take care of everybody in a group class. This is like a whole other conversation. So I've strayed from the question.
Kerri, we are cut from the same cloth. I mean, I feel the same way. It's a hard needle to thread sometimes. And I think I come at it like that too. Especially the example of my friend Emily. If I hadn't known that her father died during the 6 weeks I was trying to push her to do something hard, I don't know how much empathy I would have had.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to know that.
Yeah.
Because it changes everything. You know, she didn't have the wherewithal to be pushed that hard during that time, but she did it anyway, actually. Mm-hmm. But it's so important. So I come at it like that too. I really try to get to know my students. I had my Pilates master teacher. She's an amazing teacher, but she always said, and I don't know if she's changed her mind since then, she's like, don't make friends with your clients. And I was like, well, guess I messed up there, because I'm friends with every single one of my clients.
I've definitely made mistakes.
And I know what's going on in their lives.
In that too. Like, but there, everybody has to have their own boundaries. Some people have very strict boundaries and some people's are blurries, but like you form your boundaries through life experience too, and trial and error, and but ultimately we can't take care of everybody. And I feel like especially with the younger generation coming in, I'm finding that some of them aren't very good at self-regulating, and I have to also take a step back and do the best I can, but also be like, you know what, this is an aerial class. I'm teaching you aerial arts right now. And you just have to like, not take everything personally, and not, you just need to be able to self-regulate, and I'm going to do the best I can. I'm just a person doing the best I can. And to like make sure that everybody feels heard and seen, but ultimately also I'm teaching aerial arts. Go do a straddle up.
I don't know if this helps you. I actually sometimes I love both. I love when I get a fresh body and they like my style and they stick with me. That's wonderful. But sometimes what I like even better is people who have been taught by a lot of people, and then they find me, because it's almost like I'm suddenly with a man who has kissed a lot of frogs, and they know what they want, and they know what they're there for, because they know what they're getting with me. I'm like, I am not the strongest aerialist you'll ever meet. I struggle, but there's no reason why you should be doing this entry on a hoop like you've never been on it and taking intermediate to advanced Lyra class. We just have to like regress you a little bit so you can do all the things, because obviously you've spent a lot of time, money, energy learning all these tricks, but let's take it back a step. So I struggle with that too. Kerri, we're cut from the same cloth. And by the way, I am 2.5 years till I'm 50. Ooh. And I am completely convinced I'm going to have a complete emotional meltdown between now and then. What happened with you? Did that happen?
Emotional meltdown? Oh God, don't get me started. Yes.
I want to know.
2023 was the year of my emotional meltdown.
Okay, but did you know what was happening when it was happening? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just mostly, it was extreme like stress and fatigue from building Casa Chango and realizing that I had this huge burden, and things that had happened along the way that I'd done wrong, or, and then just like realizing, oh, there's like this, it's just a big burden. of having a staff to pay and having, this amazing thing that takes a lot of maintenance and then also just the fatigue and hormone imbalance. The hormone imbalance thing is something that we're constantly trying to figure out. But and now too, like we're in another phase of meltdowns. I mean, I think all of us are going to be facing meltdowns with the political system and all of the changes that are going to be happening.
Are you feeling relieved that you're not in America right now? Or does it matter?
Not any more than I was before. I definitely, I like living in Mexico and, yeah, no, I mean, when I hear people talk about like the feel of everything out there in America, yeah, I've been here since the beginning of the first Trump administration. So, yeah, I haven't really experienced. I'm grateful.
Let's talk about those hard things, because I think that my listeners tune in for a lot of things. I think one of the reasons why is because they're trying to build their own circus business. The only person that I've interviewed that is even in the same category of having a retreat is my friend Sarah Mann, who produces her own dinner theater. And when I asked her the hardest part, she said catering. like straight up catering. That was the hardest part to figure out. And so you do have a staff. You're at the point where you're having it's a marketing question mark, no longer a product question mark. Is that
yeah?
Does that ring true to you?
Yeah. Our product is great. Casa Chango is amazing. Our staff is amazing. Anytime, the catering is not a problem. If there's like a weird thing that happens where we're like, how come, what is it? The other day we had like banana bread for dessert 2 nights in a row, or banana cake 2 nights in a row. And I was like, we need more variety. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. We had chocolate cake the next day. Like they're like, oops, sorry, I made banana cake 2 days in a row. That's like the worst, the biggest problem we have with our staff. We have a full-time kitchen staff. We have 3 people that work in our kitchen staff, and my partner Stuart also oversees that and works as well. So so I actually took notes because you told me this question, and I'm like, what I wrote: making enough money to pay the bills and hopefully make enough profit to make it all worth it, right? To make a profit where I'm like, well, one, we have a buffer for insurance for if this whole thing blows away in a hurricane. 2, I can go on vacation if I want to, even if it's expensive to buy a plane ticket, like not having to live in that like scarcity mentality. Like I want to be able to enjoy my life outside of work and pleasing everyone. It's customer service. And, people pay a couple $1,000s or more to come to a retreat, and they want to have a good time. And so it's like pleasing people, and especially people who aren't as easy to please. Cancel culture, the need to have good reviews on Yelp, or Yelp, we don't use Yelp so much, but Google reviews, the need to have reviews. So like, even just like, not only that people had a good time, but if there was something they didn't like, for them to know that I care to fix it. If someone's like, yes, oh, the rooster woke me up. Our neighbors have chickens. The rooster woke me up. Oh, let's see. Here's some things where we could fix, like earplugs. Do we want to move you to another room? Or, the things where we actually care about people's experience, which we do. But also there's that underlying thing of like, oh, I hope they don't write a bad review. Because if they write a bad review, our small business can't take it. We can't take a bad review. So there's the cancel culture. It's like, when it comes down, we live in a capitalist world. And when the bigger the project you do, the more expensive it is to keep it up. And it's easy to just take care of people and like show people you care. Because I am a person who cares about people. I'm a person who cares about animals. The main thing, my main concern for the last week was all of the immigrants are going to get deported out of the United States next year. I don't know any of them. I'm a person who cares about people and cares about their experience. And so when people come here and they're like, oh, I didn't sleep well last night. I'm like, oh, have you tried melatonin? Oh, here's a podcast I like to listen to when I don't sleep. Like, I'm going to give them a plethora of things, or like ask them why, because I indeed want someone to enjoy their life. But then when there's that thing of like, what if, even if I care, what if they write a bad review? That could take me down.
I mean, Rachel talks about this all the time. Like, of at the loft. Like she talks about this all the time. My next question that is organic that I did not write down is, do you like the nuts and bolts work of it? And did you see it the way it is? Like when you thought about doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I'm here in San Antonio now, and I'm watching Dara do the nuts and bolts of being a studio owner. I'll walk into her class that's right before my class, and she'll be stitching fabrics back together. She calls herself the laundry bitch. Like, she'll be the one who, like, nitty gritty, like, did this person show up and how long, that is the work of being a studio owner. And I don't know if all studio owners go into the studio thinking that's what their daily life is going to be like.
Yeah, I think most people probably don't. Those nuts and bolts, I actually don't mind, like stitching up fabrics and like the part that's more about the logistics of circus arts. Because before I did retreats, I was producing my own shows and staying up so late at night making costumes and doing all those kinds of production things. So trying to sell tickets, working the box office, selling popcorn and cookies at the show, like kind of circus style of stuff. And I know like the work that's involved in maintaining equipment and costumes and all of that. I don't mind stitching fabrics, and I don't mind retaping hoops and, all of those things. What is the hardest part is all of the stuff that doesn't relate to circus arts, which is, again, making enough money, pleasing people, even just like, did they sleep well? Did they enjoy their meal? Are they hot and they need an ice pack? Did the jacuzzi not turn on? Oh no, the jacuzzi is not hot. And people are sore and they want to sit in the jacuzzi. Once in a while, the jacuzzi doesn't turn on correctly. And we have an evening where we're like, no, the jacuzzi isn't on. What are we going to do? We're going to die. And then, then it's like, why didn't the jacuzzi turn on? Oh, are we out of like gas for the hot water heater? Or, oh, the pump broke. Last week, the pump broke. So we fixed it and it's fine, But like those kinds of things that they just add up, those nuts and bolts are the parts that's hardest for me. But honestly, the circus part, I love it. I love the circus part. We just ordered a couple new crash mats and we got to pick them up today. And I had to pick the color of crash mats and go to the, I like the circus arts part.
What you're describing just reminds me of being a homeowner, but with customers. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, how about the social media aspect? Do you like that aspect or no? Or is it just a chore?
And I think like I actually just had a meeting with my partner and admin assistant this morning about marketing for some retreats that are coming up in the spring, some retreats that I'm teaching. And are we going to buy ads, or how do we let the public know? And to me, it's actually the interesting part is like the marketing of how do we let the public know who we are? The honest part. This is a retreat that I'm teaching, and this is what you're gonna experience at it. Because that's the part of being, almost 50, and like I know what I'm doing and I know who I am, I know what I have to give, and I don't have to hide behind anything, and I don't have to figure it out anymore. I know what I'm going to teach in the class. I've been teaching it for 20 years. I've been working up to this place for 20 years. Like I know how to teach you to get from A to Z in this, in this art form and in this specific, genre of skills or whatever. And so the marketing part where it's like, how do we let people know that this is going to be a really, really fun one? And this is for people who are at this level. And this is going to help people get from here to here. How do we tell those people or reach those people? It's a really interesting puzzle. But then there's like the work involved to do it. Like, oh, we have to do another video. We have to take another video. We have to find those videos from before and put them together in a way. That part sometimes is a little bit more tedious. But for me with social media, I've just made it a chore of letting people know who we are and what we do. And that's easy. When you already know who you are and what you do, it's pretty easy. And after 20 years of working in the industry of selling myself as an artist and being like, I'm worth it. I'm worth that $800 you're going to pay me to do my aerial act. That's like the hardest part for a lot of people is selling themselves. But that's another thing about wisdom is, right? You know what you're worth and you know what the value of what you give is. And it's just a matter of convincing other people that you are. And the best way that I know how to do that is to be honest.
Oh, you are wise. I hope I get to sit in the hot tub with you and be philosophical. Okay. Last question. What can you imagine, like ideally, what would happen in your business to, skyrocket it? Like what is that? Is it so many more aerial teachers finding you and wanting to host retreats at your place annually? Like what is it that would do that for you?
That's it. Consistency. I always, you know what I always say, and hope she's listening right now. I think Pink, the artist Pink, needs to come down to Casa Chango and make a couple of posts about how awesome it was. I always, because it's that moment. I want Pink to come down here with her family or with her staff or with her tour team or whatever and have a week-long vacation and be like, yeah, this was awesome. A circus vacation. Maybe she could put on a concert, but that's not actually what I'm thinking about. I just want her to come and be like, hey, I went to this place called Casa Chango. Everyone else should go there too. That's like been my dream. But yeah, I want other people to know about our place. And the things that I want people to know about our place is that we are a small business. Some people think always like a resort or a retreat center is like a corporate run thing. It's not. We built this thing somehow with our blood, sweat, and tears. My partner Stuart and I, we're artists who have worked as artists our entire life outside of the Jamba Juice jobs that kept us paying our rent. We worked as artists. We care. I'm somebody who's been to Burning Man 21 times. I've lived the life of an artist. I'm weird and eccentric. I'm like, go ahead and swim naked in the pool if that makes you feel good. Go ahead and wear that mask or wear that costume to class. Like, yeah, if that makes you feel good. Go ahead and cry if that's what you want to do. It doesn't make me feel awkward if you're crying. It just makes me feel compassion and love for you. Just be yourself, like express yourself, be in this environment that's created by artists. So, and like people who care about the world and care about people. And so I want to do things like weird weddings or family reunions or other kinds of retreats that aren't just circus arts. And I want the world to know that they can come here and really anything goes. If they're like, we want to do a masquerade wedding themed with like monkeys in the jungle, and I don't know, or something really ridiculous, I'll be like, okay, great. I already have 10 ideas. Like what's your budget, or like what's the costuming and how many people are coming or whatever. I'm an idea generator. And so I want the world, what would make everything easier for us is if more people wanted to do stuff here and if more people wanted to come here. And so I wouldn't have to worry about convincing people that this is the place to come. They already know. So Pink, get her down here.
Yes. And I hope that, podcasts are great because people receive them. It's long form. They get to know you. So I hope that's going to help. And then also I get to meet you in June, hopefully. And then are you there for every retreat?
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
I'll be here for yours.
Okay. So good. Okay, so Kerri, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry that Bean had a full meltdown at the beginning of the interview.
Now. She's dancing. She danced it out a little.
My friends, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. If you'd like to be in the podcast, just send me a DM or email me, Kerri at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com. This is for you guys. It's for the worldwide community. So if you have a story that you'd love to share, please reach out. I'd love to have you as a virtual student. So if you go to the show notes, there's links for all of my online resources, free mini course, comprehensive beginner to intermediate, and aerial rehab as well. I'd love to have you guys there. And check out Greener Grass. It's the podcast that I do with Kelly McVeigh. And we talk about so many things that you might care about. And then we also just gab. We have so much fun. Please leave me a 5-star rating and review. It makes such a huge difference. So I would appreciate that with all of my heart. And thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Over and out. This is Kerri with Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist.